Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Samuel Zinner in the mountain village of Aulla in Tuscany, Italy. As they say here, buongiorno. Good day. Before we start off, I want to read you a prayer written in 1587, a prayer to coffee, right, by the Sheikh Ansari Jazari Hanbal Abad al-Qadir, right? It goes like this. I found this some years ago in a coffee table book, of course, right? Oh, coffee, you dispel the worries of the great. You point the way to those who have wandered from the path of knowledge. Coffee is the drink of the friends of God and of his servants who seek wisdom. As coffee steeps in the cup, it gives off a musky aroma and turns the color of ink. Those who condemn coffee as causing man harm are fools in the eyes of God. Coffee is the common man's gold, and like gold, it brings to every man the feeling of luxury and nobility. Coffee differs from pure milk only in its taste and color. Take time in your preparation of coffee, and God will be with you in your table. Where coffee is served, there is grace and splendor, and friendship and happiness. All cares vanish as the coffee cup is raised to the lips. Coffee flows through your body as freely as your life's blood, refreshing all that it touches. Look at the youth and vigor of those who drink it. O thou drink of God's glory, thy purity brings to humanity only well-being and nobility. It's a great prayer to coffee. Before I continue, I want to let you know that everything basically that I know about coffee, I learned from my late friend Terrance Reis, who died in 2008. His wife was Diana Danielson. Together they ran Coffee Culture, a coffee shop in Lincoln, Nebraska on O Street. Of course, it folded in 2008 when Terrance died. But everything I know about coffee, I learned from him. The number one rule, if you want good coffee, you need freshly roasted coffee beans, right? The ideal is roasted like 2 to 3 days previously. So you roast them and you have to wait 2 or 3 days before you use the coffee beans. Right, if you probably the best way to make coffee is actually not Italian, even though there's nothing wrong with Italian coffee by no means, but it would be the French press, right? This type of gadget, right? A plunger here, right? So for that, what you need, right, would be this. Put your coffee beans in there and grind them by hand. All right. But I'm not going to go into that method now. I'm going to go into this method, right? The mocha pot. All right. Now, in Italy, right, when you go to any market, right, and you buy your coffee, there you have a lot of choices, as you do everywhere, but I would recommend paying at least close to €3, right? Anything that's about €1, right? It tends to be not freshly roasted, right? And so it could end up tasting a little bitter. But there are a lot of opportunities that you can find here from big brands, right, like House Brandt, right, and this one is great, right? Corsini, the company Corsini, American coffee. What is American coffee? In their opinion, it's coffee that you make in a filter. However, you can use this in a mocha cup with no problem. I mean, a mocha pot with no problem at all. And you can find all sorts of local companies, like one of the markets here is called Conad, right? So Conad, right? So Conad, right, makes their own brand here. This is Brazilian coffee, right? And Jerez, right? This is not from Italy, but it's sold in Italy. So all sorts of types and varietals. They make Guatemala, Ethiopia, these are $4.99 each, 4.99 euros, so just a little over $5. Right. Anyway, so this is another good one. It's 2.98, so about €3. Right, and this is Carrefour. It's the name of a market here. So this is what they sell. And this is Brazil, Kenya, and Colombia, a mixture of 3 varietals. That's what I'm going to be making today, actually. Even though I have it in the Hausbrand can, this is actually the Carrefour tri-varietal, 3 varietals, right? So what you want to do is, right, this is the mocha cup. This is how you make Italian coffee. Now, you can make espresso if you want to, or you can just make regular coffee, right? So all of these are the same, right? You just unscrew the top, and you don't have to use a filter, of course, here. This is where you put your coffee, and here's where you put your water. All right, so I got some water here in my coffee cup. Be careful. All right. So now a lot of people will tell you, well, look inside here for the line. You don't have to do that, right? However much you want to drink a cup of coffee, just fill your coffee cup up with water and pour it in there. You want coffee, right? You stick this back in there. You take this, which is about two teaspoons there in America, right? This is for coffee. Just take you fill it up right to the top. Put it in, and it's pretty simple after that. Just take this and don't pat the coffee down with any kind of stamper, right? If you want to, you can level it out with your finger, but no more than that. Now, if you want an espresso, fill this up to the very top, right? So put in, it's going to take like maybe up to 6 teaspoons, right? But I don't care for espresso, really. In my grad days in school, yeah, I could do it. Sometimes I had 6, 7, 8 espressos in one night, yeah, and still manage to get to sleep, right? Studying for a test the next day. Anyway, so you just, screw this back on, put it on the stove, and when it boils, right, you're going to hear it, and you just take it off. And I have to tell you this, even though it's common sense, right? Don't burn yourself, of course, right? So you got to use some kind of cloth or something when you're holding this, right? Yeah, and why am I using this instead of this one? This is all nice and shiny, right? But I want to show you what these look like in the typical Italian household. They're used, right? So you see the blackness down here, right? Right, so this is the real thing. And then, of course, after you finish, right, you just pour it, if you like a little bit of milk in it, or so-called cream, right, add that in there, right? And, of course, right, there's nothing better than coffee, right? There's only one thing better than coffee, and that's this, a whole bunch of coffee, right? So the more, the better. Well, anyway, so it's really simple. That's how you make Italian coffee. Now, some myths out there. You don't have to use hot water. You don't put hot water in there. Some people will actually tell you that. I've seen some so-called experts on YouTube telling you how to make Italian coffee, right? But you want to use, actually, I mean, turn on your faucet wherever you get your water from. Like here, we can go across the street, right, and we get water straight from the mountain, right? Comes out of a spout, and it's free, right? And a lot of Italian towns are that way. So the best water you can use, that's what you want to use. Use cold water. It's not going to get bitter. Don't believe people. Use cold water. That's the best. Because it doesn't take just 3-4 minutes for it to come to a boil. It's not going to get bitter. That's a myth. Right, as long as you have freshly roasted coffee, or your coffee's been roasted like within the last month or two, right? Beyond that, right, you're out of luck. It's not going to taste good. It's going to be bitter no matter how you make it. So you need freshly roasted coffee. In America, right, I always tell people to use Peet's. Peet's coffee, which you can get at a lot of supermarkets, that's the best. They actually tell you the date, the actual day, right, a month. and the month of when they roasted the beans, right? And it's usually roasted within a week or two before they get into the supermarket. So Pete's, that's the best. But also, right, Trader Joe's, this is also pretty good too if you want instant coffee, 100% Colombian coffee, right? And so this is instant coffee, right? But it's actually pretty good. It's actually pretty fresh. And there's a lot of great coffees at Trader Joe's, right? So when I visit America, I've never found any bad coffee from Trader Joe's. They seem to be pretty fresh, right? So either Pete's Coffee or go to Trader Joe's. I'm sure there are other places as well, right, that make freshly roasted coffee. But anyway, that's about it, really. So cold coffee, cold water, right? And just bring it to a boil, right, and pour it out, and use a little bit of milk, right? So that's just coffee, right? And another thing I would just mention is that all these types of coffees that you can find here in Italy. I'm talking about unflavored coffees. If you're concerned about kosher, right, you don't have to worry, right? As long as the coffee is not flavored. Right, so anything that's like about 3 euros and up is going to be fine. And of course, I had an Indian coffee here from Hyper Co-op, like Super Co-op would be the translation in English, right? Coffee from India, and that's about 5 euros. But I've never seen coffee in Italy cost more than that for a packet this size, which is going to last you a couple of weeks. Even if you're like me and you drink about 4 cups in a day, it's going to last you. Whereas in America, good coffee like this is going to cost you twice as much, if not more, right? But for some reason, prices are just lower here. In Italy, even though they are rising, this Corsini American coffee up till some weeks ago was $2.99, €2, now it's $3.45, right? Because of the world situation that I don't want to go into, but you already all know about it. That reminds me of Parallels, right? This 2015 TV series pilot. Unfortunately, it never went anywhere. It wasn't realized, even though this pilot was really good. I enjoyed it. The basic concept was that you go into this high-rise building. I think it was in New York or wherever, right? You go in there, and every 36 hours, this building activates, right? And you exit. And you're in an alternate Earth, a different Earth. Some of them are good, some of them are bad, right? But right, there's an exchange in this pilot between the characters Ronan and Polly. Polly is played by Constance Wu, right? And here, let me take this antique here, and here it goes.
You're from some weird alternate Earth?
Not from my point of view. You guys are the ones who are drinking coffees that look like ice cream sundaes and shit.
All right, so stay away from the flavored coffee. Straight coffee is the only way to go, and I'm sure that Sheikh Hansari Jazeri, Hanbal Abd al-Qadir, would agree with me. Right, but anyway, I'm dedicating this to the memory of Terrance Reis and Diana Danielson, to the memory of coffee culture, which was the best coffee I ever had in my life, right? But the stuff here in Italy is pretty good too, if you make it the right way. All right. Thank you. Arrivederci. We'll see you later.